When it comes down to endings in the Souls games, a lot of stuff are left up to interpretation. We don't know what exactly happens during these endings, we just have a slight idea. Especially when it comes down to whether or not they're good or bad for the world. Now, because of this, I wanted to go over each of the Souls games' quote unquote bad endings to see which is truly the worst. And by worst, I mean which one is truly the most messed up. Let's start with the first ending. To really understand why I'm not a big fan of the endings in Dark Souls 2, specifically the Leave the Throne ending, I need to explain how the choices work and what they mean for the story. Near the end of the game, where a character known as the Bearer of the Curse faces a decision: sit on the Throne of Want or leave it behind. If we decide to sit on the Throne of Want, it symbolizes a huge step. Our character essentially takes control of the fate of the world, meaning they would theoretically choose to link the first flame, keeping the Age of Fire going, or let it die out, bringing in on the Age of Dark. However, the game never actually spells out which path our character takes. Instead, it leaves the choice up to our imagination and speculation, which can be frustrating for players who want a clear answer about what happens next. Not saying it's completely bad though. The other option is to simply turn around and leave the throne room. This choice might seem less dramatic at first, but it holds its own deeper meaning. By leaving the Throne of Want, the Bearer of the Curse is showing that they're not satisfied with just sitting on the throne and repeating the same cycle that's been going on for ages. Instead, they're choosing to leave in search of a true, permanent solution to the curse of the undead. A solution that hasn't been found despite the efforts of many who came before. While this sounds hopeful, it's still not a perfect ending. In fact, it's kind of disappointing when you consider the bigger picture. Sure, it seemed like the Bearer of the Curse is determined to find a real fix for the curse, but the reality is, as we see in Dark Souls 3, they don't succeed. The world of Dark Souls 3 is still haunted by the undead curse, even if it doesn't directly affect the main character of that game. This implies that whatever path our character took in Dark Souls 2, it didn't lead to any lasting change. The cycle is still here, the curse is still around, and the world is still stuck in the same endless loop of linking the flame, letting it fade, and trying to survive in the aftermath. So what's the real problem with these endings? For one, both choices feel a bit empty. Sitting on the Throne of Want gives our character power, but it's unclear how that power is used. Did they link the flame or choose darkness? We'll never know. And if they leave, while it may seem noble and ambitious, the fact that nothing changes in the next game make it feel like a dead-end choice. The ending of leaving the throne also carries a message of failure and frustration. The Bearer of the Curse wants to break the cycle, yet that doesn't happen. In Dark Souls 3, we still see that the curse still exists, and the Age of Fire and the Age of Dark continue the cycle one after another. So even if our character left with high hopes, they didn't succeed. It feels like a cycle of repeated attempts and repeated failures, which fits with the Dark Souls theme, but it doesn't provide much satisfaction. On the other hand, the fact that we don't know exactly what happened if we sit on the throne is also frustrating in a different way. The lack of clear outcome leaves the player in the dark with no real sense of closure. This choice has potential because it implies power and control, but it also leaves everything unresolved. And since the game doesn't allow us to choose between an Age of Fire or an Age of Dark, the ending feels vague. But that's not necessarily a bad thing on the game's part, because throughout the whole game, different characters are trying to tell us that whatever option we choose, there's still always going to be a cycle regardless. This ending is pretty simple to obtain. Basically, after going through the whole game, learning everything about the world of the hunters, and finding out that there are literally cosmic beings of high power walking among us, we still decide to let Gehrman kill us and forget everything we have ever learned and discovered, and we wake up back in the real world. Now, this is a player's choice obviously, but I would like to think that some hunters years ago decided to go with this because they couldn't handle what they've learned, and this is probably the only option for them to forget everything, preventing themselves from going mad. This ending is bad because, well, you've learned and discovered a lot of new knowledge that simply forgetting them would be a waste. That's like waking up one morning discovering that there are alien beings roaming among us all along since the very beginning of time, and you just choose to ignore and forget it. But then again, knowing that there are literally beings beyond our comprehension roaming around would probably drive us mad, so it's most likely best to forget that. Ignore the example. But it's still a bad ending though. However, we're not done with Bloodborne as yet, as there is another ending that's equally or even worse than the first one. This is when you choose to refuse submitting your life, and then you have to fight Gehrman, killing him and then taking his place as a new host of the dream. Now, killing Gehrman is actually doing him a favor, since being the host of the nightmare is pretty much being locked in an eternal prison helping and mentoring people for, well, eternity. This is actually way worse than the first one. To understand why Link in the Flame isn't the best option for the world of Dark Souls, we need to look at what the Age of Fire really means and why this cycle keeps repeating. In the Dark Souls games, the Age of Fire is a period filled with light, power, and prosperity for the gods and certain powerful beings, but with every passing cycle, the fire weakens and an Age of Dark starts to creep in, which is a natural part of the world's flow. But the gods, Gwyn specifically, fear this Age of Dark because it could end their rule and change the world forever. In Dark Souls, when we link the first flame, it restarts the Age of Fire. This decision burns away our character's soul or humanity to become fuel for the flame. The flame grows stronger for a time, but it will eventually fade again, causing the whole cycle to repeat. Each time someone links the flame, they sacrifice themselves to buy more time for the Age of Fire. However, as time goes on, the effect of linking the flame becomes weaker and each new Age of Fire grows shorter than the last. One big reason why Link in the Flame isn't a good ending for the world is that it's not a real solution. Link in the Flame only keeps things going temporarily. It's like putting a band-aid over a wound that never heals. The world of Dark Souls is caught in a repeating loop, and every time the flame fades, someone else has to make the sacrifice. This never-ending cycle of linking the flame and restarting the Age of Fire traps the world in a pattern where nothing ever changes. This means there's no chance for real growth, evolution, or progress. Because the Age of Fire is held up by the gods, Link in the Flame mainly benefits them. They want the flame to keep going because it keeps their power intact and help them stay in control. The Age of Dark, by contrast, is more mysterious and the gods view it as dangerous. But just because it's unknown doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. An Age of Dark might allow humanity to flourish in new ways, or could create a natural balance without the gods ruling over everything. But they were so afraid of losing their power that they wouldn't allow this to happen. Instead, they manipulate people into thinking that the Age of Fire is the only way forward, which keeps the cycle going and protects their own interests. By linking the flame, our character is sacrificing themselves for a world that's already been decaying for ages. As each cycle continues, the world becomes more and more broken. The land falls into ruin and people lose their mind and turn hollow, and suffering only increases. In this way, Link in the Flame is like trying to keep a dying kingdom alive, even though its people are already falling apart and hope is fading. The world is trapped in this decaying state, constantly on the edge of collapse, yet the fire is linked over and over again to keep things as they are. This isn't really helping anyone in the long run because it only postpones the inevitable end without solving deeper problems. The Undead Curse is also a major issue here. This curse is tied to the cycle of Link in the Flame. It's what keeps bringing characters like ours into the world, giving them an almost endless life until they go hollow. The curse was put in place to help find new way people would sacrifice themselves to keep the Age of Fire alive. So by linking the flame, we're also allowing the curse to continue, trapping more people in this life of suffering. They wander endlessly, slowly losing their minds and humanity until they're no longer even themselves. Linking the Flame is all about preserving the status quo. It doesn't allow for new possibilities. By choosing to link the flame, we're stopping any chance for a new age to arise, which might bring a different, potentially better world. We never get to see the opportunity of what the Age of Dark might bring. It could bring freedom from the gods' control, allowing humanity to find its own way, or maybe it could lead to a different type of balance that would replace the constant state of decay the Age of Fire brought. By linking the flame, we're denying the world this chance and forcing it to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Another reason why linking the flame isn't great is that the world of Dark Souls is falling apart more and more with each cycle. Lands merge, the environment becomes twisted, and time itself becomes distorted as the flame continues to weaken. We see this more clearly in Dark Souls 3, where it's clear that reality is bending and breaking. This endless cycle of fire and decay has torn the world apart so much that it barely makes sense anymore. Every time the flame is linked, it's like stretching a rope thinner and thinner until it's almost ready to snap. There's only so much the world can take before it falls apart entirely, and linking the flame might actually be speeding up this breakdown. In conclusion, while linking the flame might seem noble, it's really just a temporary fix. It doesn't bring any real hope or growth to the world. It only drags out the same cycle of suffering. The Age of Fire is slowly fading, the curse continues to trap people in lives of endless pain, and the world itself is coming undone. By choosing to link the flame, we're not helping to solve any of these problems, at least permanently. The Shura ending is one of the darkest in the Soulsborne series. Unlike other bad endings where the world falls apart due to fate or some weird cosmic horror shit, this one is completely personal. It's less about the world ending and more about you becoming a monster. To get this ending, you have to betray Kuro and side with Owl. Instead of staying loyal, you choose power and self-interest. What makes it worse is that this isn't some outside force corrupting you, it's literally a choice you make on your own. It's not like, you're getting corrupted by madness like the Frenzied Flame or whatnot. It's just pure selfishness. By taking this path, you lose all humanity. The game even says warriors who fall into this state become Shura, people who exist only to kill. Ishin himself says Shura won't stop killing until there's nothing left. Instead of becoming a ruler, you instead become a beast consumed by violence. The final boss fight drives this home. Emma and Ishin, two of the most honorable characters in the game by the way, even stand against you. If these two who are honorable and respect strength and warriors see you as beyond saving, then you know you fucked up. And at the end you literally get nothing. You're just now a mindless killer, a powerful immortal one at that. The Shura ending isn't tragic because of an apocalypse or some grand event. It's tragic because Sekiro throws away everything he fought for and becomes the very thing he swore to destroy. And that's why I placed it here.
The Old One senses a new and powerful demon by its side. And before long, the world will be engulfed by the deep fog.
In Demon Souls, the kingdom of Boletaria has been engulfed by a deep fog, filled with demons, trapping the souls of its inhabitants. We the player must navigate through 5 distinct worlds, each ruled by a powerful demon, and defeat them to access the Old One's lair. As the player progresses, they uncover the lore of Boletaria, learning about King Alon's quest for power and the consequences of awakening the Old One. Ultimately, our choices at the end determine the fate of Boletaria and its inhabitants, leading to multiple endings based on our actions throughout the game. Now let's talk about the endings. In the ending of Demon Souls, our character gets transported to the world below the Nexus with the help of the Maiden in Black. The Old One, which is the old primordial demon, wants us to bond with it, becoming its new host. However, when we go inside of it, we see the current host, King Alon, and let's just say he's not in the best shape. After killing him, we get 2 options. Option 1 being the good ending where we let the Old One sleep, or option 2, kill the Maiden in Black and become the new host of the Old One, which is, as you can guess, the bad ending. Option 1 will make the world free of demons and magic and return back to somewhat normal, while option 2 is the opposite. The world will still have magic and monsters, and this might cause the world to, end pretty soon. Now the endings, especially the bad one, doesn't go into more details or anything. It's kind of just that, which I'm not mad about or anything, but I do wish there was more to it, if you get what I mean.
Lord of Frenzied Flame. I will seek you as far as you may travel, to deliver you what is yours, destined death.
The Age of Frenzied Flame ending is possibly the worst ending in Soulsborne history. It basically takes everything the player has fought for and reduces it to literally nothing. Other bad endings in the games usually leave something behind, if a ruined city or, dying world. But here, literally the whole world is burning with flames that not only destroys but drives anyone who comes in contact with it to insanity. In a previous video, I mentioned that some people were defending this ending, saying that it's necessary for the world since the world was, already bad to begin with, and it needs to be burnt away. Brother, what? Okay, as bad as the world of Elden Ring might be, it is nowhere near as bad to the point where the final thing it needs is to be destroyed. It's heavily implied that the lands between is just out of order, and with proper structure and restoring the Elden Ring, the world will be fine, or at least getting back to the state that it was, once was. Am I even saying that right? It's not like Dark Souls where you link the flame and nothing changes, except that you prolong the Age of Dark a bit more. No, the world of Elden Ring is a bit more optimistic. It's just that the Elden Ring was broken, hence why there's so many different ending options. Yet here you have the Frenzied Flame ending, which is literally one of the most blatantly bad endings FromSoft ever made. And look, I know some people theorize that with the Frenzied Flame burning everything away, the world will eventually reset. And my thing is that I'm pretty sure that's not 100% guaranteed, you know what I mean? And even if it did, it still doesn't justify burning everything away because again, it's not like the world can't be fixed at all. Anyways, I'm rambling on a bit too much. Now, to get this ending, you have to fully embrace the frenzied flame, which is a force that only wants to burn everything to ashes. It's not about ruling, rebuilding, or even reshaping the world into something new. It's just pure annihilation. The moment you accept the Three Fingers powers, you start to lose control of yourself, and you become the vessel of the frenzied flame itself. One of the worst parts of this ending is how personal the consequences feel. Melina, who guided you throughout the entire journey, abandons you and even swears that she will kill you. That never happens in the other Soulsborne endings, except for the Shura ending. Usually there's some room for interpretation, some sense that maybe things aren't completely hopeless, but here the game makes it crystal clear that yeah, you're the villain. Even if you started your journey with noble intentions, in the end you're the one responsible for literally burning the entire world. Even the visuals of the ending shows what the world will look like during the state, a literal apocalyptic fiery wasteland. Even the Earth Tree itself is completely burnt away and destroyed. Other bad endings in the Souls games at least let you justify your choice. Linking the flame in Dark Souls might be pointless, but it keeps the world going on a little bit longer. The Shura ending in Sekiro is definitely awful, don't get me wrong, but it's just one man falling into madness. But this is the worst possible fate for the world of Elden Ring. Now, that was my pick for the darkest Soulsborne ending. The closest one to it was the evil ending from Demon's Souls, as becoming part of the old one will just doom the world with horrifying monsters. But the Frenzied Flame ending literally destroys the world as we know it, so yeah, that's why it takes the top spot. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any agreements or disagreements with my placements, then feel free to leave a comment down below. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good one.